What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the tutorial. And this is what we're going to be doing in this one. We're going to be creating a spike, and we're going to be taking damage from that spike. And then I'm going to see if I can remember how to do the animation spike. So we're going to first get into our thing here. Let's see, tutorial, blueprints. All right. So since we're going to be making a spike, we're going to have to create a new class. Right click and then go to blueprint class. Go up here to actor, because that's what it is, actor component, or not actor component, it's this is an actor. We're going to call this BP for blueprint, and then we're going to call it spike. All right, and then Control S to save, and let's open it up. All right, so now you see we're in our blueprint here. This is the viewport. So first, you don't have anything in here yet, so let's go up here to components and let's add a cone. All right. As you can see, it's a little bit off. I had to resize it down a little bit, but to adjust this, and that way this floor piece is not there, go to perspective and then go to the front, scroll in a little bit, and you see that green line there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to drag this up to where the bottom is right on the green line. And then as you can see over here in your location, it is at 50. And the other two are 0, right? But then when you drag it back down, it's going to be 50. You can use that for the animation spike, but for now, just go to compile and save. All right, so let's go back into our perspective and regular perspective. As you can see, the floor is no longer a factor. As you can see, that's all out of there now because we fixed that. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, come over here to the event graph, and what you're going to do is you're going to, when you, hold on just a second, Epic Games is apparently updating, so just bear with me a moment. Right in the middle of my tutorial, right? Okay. Well, all right. So as you can kind of see, all right, you got an empty event graph on your spike at the moment. So you're gonna come down here. You don't really need those at the moment. So you're gonna come down here to your cone, or on the left side, you got your cone, right? So you're gonna right click on that, and then there will be an add event, and you're gonna do on component because your cone is a component. Begin overlap because your character is going to interact with the cone and take damage. So your on component begin overlap on your cone, and then so now, okay, well then what happens here? So your spike, you got your cone here. All right, you're gonna draw from the other actor. Or actually, no, you're gonna draw from the execute pin because you want it to execute. And you're gonna look up apply damage. And it's right under damage on the game. Just apply damage. And okay, there you go. So now your damage actor is gonna be the other actor. You're gonna link that up. Your base damage for now, because we don't really, we got a health meter, but it won't really do anything to it at the moment because we don't got it interacting um, with the widget blueprint at the moment. So for now, just to show you that it works, okay, so your base damage, you just want it to be 1, okay? And then here at the end, just to show you it works, so this will be your best friend when you're a coder. Use a print string to tell you, okay, what's going on, right? So, okay. So now instead of hello, you can just put ouch. So it shows you're taking damage, right? Okay, so now this should show that you're taking damage. So let's go back over into our map. let's go draw this spike out into our map. Oh, come on. Why are you clicking all kinds of different things? Why don't you know? Okay. Okay. So, got our spike, and we're going to do two different ones. We'll do this one and the animation one. But, we'll get into that in just a moment. Okay, so, got our spike. Let's hit start. Oh, come on. Thing's not working properly. Okay, so when we interact with it, okay, we can't interact with it. I wonder why. No, I mean, I know why, but okay. So we can't interact with it because if you go back up here, what you have to do, click on the cone, come to your details panel on the right side, and you're going to scroll down until you hit collision. As you can kind of see on the collision presets, it says block all dynamic. Well, we don't want it to block, so the next thing you need to do is you need to come down here. Once you click the drop down menu, you're going to want it to overlap only your pawn because your pawn is your player, right? So you want your player to interact with it. So, okay, we'll do that. We'll hit compile. And now when we overlap it, we will take damage. Okay. Why it keeps doing that? Buggy. Okay. So when we interact with it now, oh look, up in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you can see it says ouch. Because I'm walking over it and ouch, ouch, ouch. Oh. Okay, so that's how you know it works. So now the next one, what we're gonna do is this spike we just created that works to damage our character. Now we're gonna make a child class off of that. So right click on your blueprint spike and then go up here to create child blueprint class. And then we're going to call this BPCC blueprint child class underscore spike so you know where it's coming from. Okay. All right. So now click on the blueprint child class spike. We already have our spike set up. And as I mentioned earlier, okay, this is above the line and at 50. Okay. So what do you have to do to make it go under if you were to do an animation to get it to go under the ground? What you would need to do is you need to come back here and you need to see, okay, it's at 50 when it's above the line, but what happens when it's below the line? So you got to drag it down here, as I was mentioning earlier, and as you can see, it's negative 50. So we're about to code that here in just a moment. All right, so switch this back to your perspective. You see that this works, so we don't need to do anything with that. So let's go to our event graph. Okay, so our begin play, we got that right away. And then we got the tick, that will allow this to go on right as we go. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to add a timeline, right, for this to work. So right click in your graph in an empty spot, then hit add timeline. All right, so now we got our little timeline thing here. So we call this TL for timeline, and then spike movement is what I'm going to call it because that's what it's going to do. All right. All right, so the next thing, let's go ahead and set the rest of this up, and then we'll get into our timeline here. But, all right, so when it updates, what we're going to do, we're going to get the relative location. Okay, well, for now, let's just get into the timeline, and then we'll see if we can come back to it here in just a moment. Okay. So, um, click into this. Okay. The first thing you're going to do is you need a float track for this to work, since it's a partial. Okay, and then for the length of the track for this one, we're going to do 2.75. And I'm going to show you how to set it up. And then your track will be a float track. All right, so here's your track. And instead of new track 0, we're going to call this alpha. Why? Because it's going to connect to our lerp in the regular coding once we come back to it. So first thing you're going to do, come down here, you're going to add a key at 0 because, well, that's where the starting point is, okay? And then the next thing is you're going to scroll up in your timeline. You're going to find 1 here on the left side because this is 0.50. Here's 1. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to a 1 here and then 050 here. You're going to add a key because that's when your thing is going to pop up out of the ground, okay? 0.50 for your time. No, 0.50. Oh, no, why it's, because this needs to be a 1 for your value because it needs to match this. 0.50. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know why it's not updating. Okay, there it is. And then a 1 for the value. Okay, so there you go. That's when the thing comes up. Now the next thing is, okay, once this is done, then you're going to want to add another key to show you, okay, I'm done playing, right? And you're going to want to put this one at 1.50 because that's how much time now, right? And it's still at 1 because, as you see, it's still at 1 here. So the next thing is then you're going to want to, at 1.75, you're going to want to add another key, 1.75. And then your value is back down to 0 because it's going to be under the ground, right? So it goes back down. And then the last part, to show that the animation is done, you're going to want to add a key at 2.75. And it's at 0 as well. So now, okay, you got your thing set up. All right. All right. So as you can kind of see, you got your thing set up, right? Goes to 2.75. Maybe if I bring this back over here and then I hit start, then maybe it will do it properly. Maybe. But anyway, you get the idea. Okay, so we got our things set up on this. But now what we're going to want it to do is we're going to want it to loop and we're going to want it to autoplay from start. So we're going to hit this autoplay icon at the top and this loop because then it will continuously do this the entire time while we're playing. Okay. Now, if you don't want it to do that, then these are options that you can mess with later. But for now, okay, here's our thing. We got our thing set up. Okay, so we're going to pull off this alpha pin, this track that we just made. We're going to look up a lerp because, oh, not that kind of lerp. You don't want a float lerp, you want a vector lerp. So make sure it's the correct one. All right. And look up vector lerp, and the reason why the vector is because you want the exact location. So on the Z, as you saw earlier, 50 when it's above the line and negative 50 when it's below the line. All right, so now you're going to want to get the relative location of your cone. Let's see here. I don't know why it's not finding the cone though. This should be. Alright, get relative location. Okay. Hmm. Well, the cone should be your so maybe uh get relative location of static mesh. I don't know why it says static mesh socket though. Okay, well, let's drag this in here. Get relative location. Set relative location. Okay, so now, as you can see, okay, your cone is your scene component, or hopefully it should work, but can't make no guarantees now because it wasn't popping up like it should have been. Okay, so this vector part, the reason why you had to set this up is because it's going to give you your location. And then your alpha shows the track that you just created for this thing to work. So you're going to take the return value output of your vector lerp, plug it into your new location of your scene component, and then you're going to drag your update execute pin so this executes, because otherwise, if you do not have this plugged in, then this is not going to work at all. So make sure you have that plugged in properly, and then make sure your return value is put into your new location. All right, let's hit compile. Okay, so it looks like it worked okay. Hit save. So now the next thing, okay, we got to drag in our spike. And this is the other one, the animated one that we just created. We'll put that right here. And then from the start, the end of the last video just shut off right as I was, about to end this. So anyway, though, let's see that this animated spike works. And you see, it goes away and comes back. But do I take damage? Ouch, I take damage. Ouch, I take damage. Okay, so you can kind of see, okay, even on the top map, you can see one going away and one sitting still. You can still interact with both. It still does the same thing. It doesn't show it on the health bar because I did not do the widget blueprint stuff to show that I'm taking damage, but it does show just by the print string showing that it works. So this same thing, if you wonder why I didn't have to put the ouch on this one, is because it's a child class of this one, which this one already has the damage applied to it. And then this one is a child class, so adding something that I didn't add to the main class, just a side little piece, and that's why this one's animated. So I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see y'all on the next one.